everybody, it's Chris Shubert from CNSG coming to you with another edition of The Zoom, where we zoom in on thought leaders in the channel today. I am very pleased to have as my guest this week, Brian Buchman of Telesystem, not Telesystems, Telesystem. I always want to make sure that we get that marketing correct. Hey, Brian, welcome to the show today.
Hey, Chris, how are you? Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. So you've been with Telesystem now for about 5 years, primarily as a national channel manager. So tell us a little bit about your role at Telesystem. And what I always like to know is what fires you up about working there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great segue there. Appreciate the opportunity to talk to everybody today. I've been with the organization now a little over 5 years, national channel manager. So I primarily cover, the masters and taking care of everything on the East Coast. Pretty much from the Mississippi line eastbound. So anything up to Massachusetts all the way down to Florida and everything in between. As far as what gets me excited every day, I mean, I think I'm with a great company. Obviously, with the tenure that I've been there, with a little over 5 years at this point, it's great to know that you have the support of management anytime you need it. That's a direct call from me, which in a lot of instances in a lot of companies, that's not the case. They're there to support us. They're there to help us with marketing efforts. They're there to help us out, even with the funding for the partners that are out there in the community, for the events that we're trying to do, or whether it be with the master agents. And like I said, it's just been a great company to work for. I'm excited to be here every day.
Fantastic. And you're based out of Pennsylvania, so you're an Eagles fan. That's important to know as well, correct?
I'm actually not an Eagles fan, believe it or not. I grew up in a household that was a huge Cowboys fan back in the 80s. So even though I live in the Philadelphia market and I'm going against the grain a little bit, I took a lot of abuse as a younger kid, obviously, for liking somebody that is the hated rival. But I am a huge diehard Cowboys fan, grew up watching Roger Staubach and Tony Dorsett and Randy White and all those boys. So those are the times that I cherish with my dad, and we continue to watch the games today.
Well, a shocking answer, but a good answer nonetheless.
It is.
Good luck with CD Lamb, Boomer Sooner.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Moving away from the fun stuff for the moment, let's talk a little bit about Telesystem.
Sure.
Not at this stage a household brand within the channel. Has really come on strong with CNSG in the last few years. In fact, in 2019, CNSG is the top Telesystem partner. Tell our audience a little bit about who Telesystem is.
Yeah, sometimes we like to refer ourselves as the best kept secret out there in the channel. But Telesystems is a commercial telecom arm of Block Communications. Been in business well over 100 years as far as that organization goes. $2 billion organization. Telesystems is the select division of that, the telecom arm of Block Communications. They've been in business for 25 years. We had the national network. We had the ability to provide, anything and everything under the sun, whether it be the traditional POTS lines in certain instances, like we talked about a few minutes ago, to hosted to the SD-WAN. Like I said, we can be that one-stop shop, for any of the customers that are out there. The nice thing about us, too, is that we aren't just a one-trick pony. We have multiple product sets. We have multiple products within those product sets. So it's not something necessarily where we always just have to say, look, this is the only offering we have to a particular customer. We have multiple SD-WAN offerings. We have multiple hosted platforms to offer. So we can truly consult with partners within the CNSG community, the customers themselves, and really find out what their needs are and then direct them with pros and cons to the product sets that are going to be best fit for them and the product that is best suited for them as well. So I like to think that we really take a consultative approach when we're approaching customers, when we're working with our agents in that matter. And like I said, it's just been a great company to work for, and I think we have a lot to offer. And hopefully we won't be the best kept secret much longer, and more people are out there pushing Telesystem into their partner base. So
I think we'll definitely get into that as we chat about a case study here in a little bit with a very large victory we had with you guys last year. But before we get to that, you mentioned a lot of key components there: a large product bench, a variety of products, SD-WAN, connectivity, of course. One could easily argue, though, that is a exceptionally crowded space in the all-in-one, or what used to be known as kind of aggregator type services. When you go up against competition today, what do you do to differentiate yourself? You mentioned the consultative approach, but what really drives and makes folks choose Telesystem over one of your competitors?
That's a great question too. I think it's the white glove approach that we take from the experience, right, from the start to the finish, early on in the sales process, all the way to the completion, and how we even handle the account management thereon. Continuing on with that customer. But I really think that owning that customer experience, a lot of the tier one carriers that are out there, they've got that one, that one service where they're taking round pegs to fit into round holes. Some of the billing aggregators that are out there, there's a lot of organizations that will take over the billing aspects and those components, for that organization or for those different services. But a lot of the support ends up lying with overseas companies or third parties.
Yep.
When we offer our complete managed solution, it is the managed customer experience end to end. Every product that we sell is completely supported by all three tiers of our support organization. And really, everything's handled within the U.S. We do nothing overseas. So you're working with people, within the U.S. community. And like I said, I think that has really been a huge differentiator for us in that market space. And just how we're perceived on even those larger deals and even down to the smaller deals, how that hand holding, how that white glove experience, gets pushed to that customer and into the agent community.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Continuing along those lines, we've talked a lot on the Zooms the last several weeks around providers that are pure play. They do SD-WAN only, or they only do unified communications only. Now, of course, their argument is always that, well, that's what we do, that's what we focus on, that's what we're best at. We don't try to do things that we're not that great. How do you guys end up being a master of all the trades rather than a jack of all trades?
Well, I think for us, sometimes we're a little slow to roll out product sets, but I believe there's a reason for that. I think what we like to do is to make sure it's tried and true internally. We do a lot of beta testing too with a lot of our existing customer base to make sure that once we in fact launch that product, not only are we able to sell it, talk intelligently about it to our agent community and to the customers, but the sales engineers have the ability to talk onto that technical level to it. And then core engineering, the people that we have on the back end from the provisioning side, all have the ability then to support that as well. Like I said, you have a lot of people out there that say that they focus on one specific thing. I think, too, the way we've evolved over the 25-year period as an organization, as a CLEC, some of those embedded services like the MPLS, the internet access, some of those other, traditional services like POTS lines and PRIs, those still kind of have always maintained and have been in the background, and we really always still tried to look for those next-gen services with the hosted, with the SD-WAN and so forth, and then continually adding that into our belt or our tool bag, and having that access to that to the partner community and to the customers that are out there.
One of the things I've harped on to our community over the years, and I'm speaking directly to our CNSG partners right now, is how important it is in selecting suppliers that they've got a large installed base, that they've been doing this for a while, especially when it comes to SD-WAN and UC. These are technologies that for some are very, very new. And when you're dealing with Telesystem, you are dealing with a very experienced crew. You're dealing with a large organization, a $2 billion organization. That's not small fry. But they've still got that alternative CLEC mindset, which is high touch, high care, and led by Brian on the sales side. Just a good bunch of folks to know, despite liking the Cowboys. Ew.
Don't hold it against me. Don't hold it against me.
I will try not to. In looking at the year that we're in, the Zooms that we've done the last several weeks have taken on a whole new meaning in the COVID-19 era.
Sure. Absolutely.
How is Telesystem surviving and thriving in this new era? In other words, what sales strategies are working for you guys today?
Like I said, I think you hit the nail on the head. We are in a different environment. I think we could be in this environment for the foreseeable future. I think people have adapted pretty well, though. Where I have a lot of conversations right now with partners and customers are the people that maybe didn't adopt some of these next gen services, some of the remote tools that we have access to, in a product offering standpoint. but I think people have adopted things pretty well. I think there was a little bit of a learning curve early on, but from my day-to-day operations, we've always, on our sales team, we've always had a remote workforce. So nothing really has changed in that regard for me. It's trying to help out some of those clients that we have that weren't doing that, and trying to do that as efficient and as quickly as we can. I try my best every day to reach out to all my partners, just to check in sometimes, and maybe not even talk about business. It's more of, how are you? How's your family? What are some of the things that you're going through? What are you experiencing? Because, right now, let's face it, there's business that's being conducted, but, the opportunities, the number of deals that are closing, they're still there, but it was certainly not at the volume it was pre-COVID, right? And I think that's just the general consensus that I've gotten from a majority of the partners that I've talked to, even some of the businesses that are just struggling to keep their doors open. So I think sometimes just showing that care, and that, listen, we're all in this together type deal, and that mentality, I'm hoping that those dividends at some point, pay down the road when things kind of start getting back into play. But I think we're doing a real good job keeping in contact with our partners. We're doing a great job trying to help out customers. I know we put on LinkedIn with you guys too that we were offering the free video conferencing to try to help out. And it wasn't even just for customers. It's family members, it's churches, it's organizations. My Little League team took advantage of it because they couldn't do the board meetings. So again, we've been offering that out there to try to help out people in a time of need. And like I said, hopefully it all comes back and pays dividends down the road. If anything, it's in the relationships. And that's really what our game is. That's the industry that we're in, is the relationship aspect. So.
Well, as everyone knows, CNSG is a big fan of that, being where relationships matter. So I don't have to close with that tagline today. But I appreciate all you're saying there. It is a different era that we are in. I think some of our suppliers are well set up to take advantage of it and to help people. And Telesystem is definitely one of those. Stepped up quickly with a very compelling COVID, I wouldn't call it an offer, I'd call it an assistance package that you guys had available to customers. And as we move into a realm, which a lot of it's probably going to be, next couple months are going to be about cost consolidation and optimization. Telesystem is definitely a supplier that CNSG believes in, and we've had some great experience with. In fact, let's talk about one of those. I know you have. We always like to talk about case studies and wins that we've had. But we have a very interesting story of a really large win that we had with you, and it's an account that's continued to grow. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, it was a great win. We worked with Charlie Fields on an opportunity that came to us right around, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was right around Christmas of 18. I guess it was 18 going into 19.
Not 19.
It was obviously a lot of work.
World War I. 2018.
All the dates are starting to blend together here. The days are coming together. Dates are blending together. It's very hard to keep a track there. But yeah, it was presented to us right around the holidays. I remember when he first me over the bill, it was like 5,000 pages. I was like, Charlie, what are you doing to me here, buddy? This is going to take me forever to go through and try to analyze. But, once we got through the meat of it, we got an idea of what they were looking for us to do. Obviously, some of it was coming down to some cost consolidations, but, there were some other things that they were having some troubles with and some struggles. And some of that had to deal with some short duration traffic. So in the long and short of it, they had an opportunity that was presented. It was around 7 locations, 2 of which were data centers. They wanted to have some diversity with SIP trunks, where we provided 2,000 SIP trunks going to each data center, 4,000 in total. They could kind of move them back and forth as they see fit. We gave them an interface where they would gain a lot of controls for that type of thing. We worked with them to set up some of the traffic that we would be handling from their dialer. We were one of the only companies out there that was handling short duration traffic for them, and being able to do it at a cost-effective manner. And that was a huge selling point. We gave them some abilities and some controls with an 800, with their 800 numbers. They had close to 700, 800 numbers. Being able to make changes on them on the fly, so we gave them the portal to do that. And then we put in a new MPLS network, new data circuits, and generally took that, I think it was like $170,000 bill, or down to around $100K. So, it ended up saving them a good chunk of change from the goals that they were looking for out the gate, and then also giving them the ability to have some of the things to take them into the next gen services, they were going to be doing in the next tier, which was direct connects to Google, SD-WAN deployment, and some of these other things. So we were a real good fit. We made it into the final two, and then ultimately, I think what really was what drove the nail home to win the deal was us and the commitment that we had from an executive support level all the way down to introductions to some of the people that they would be working with from a project management standpoint, some of the people on the IM, core engineering. I mean, we really pulled everything together. Like I said, we pulled out all stops to win it, and we ended up getting that deal. It was a great win.
So a couple of things that I'd like to point out to the community here that I think illustrates what makes Telesystem special. One, I'll joke about it, your willingness to work and review a very large project and not push back to the partner and go, we can't help you with that. Tell me exactly what you want quoted and I'll get back with you, but really helping to dig in deep. Next, why deep product set? You had a variety of different things to help build that complete technology solution that we always love to talk about here at CNSG. And lastly, the willingness on the upfront sales side to really build a team around the deal even before it was closed, so the customer can have a real comfort factor, which is especially important when dealing with an alternative provider. Is the customer has to have that comfort factor because they haven't seen 1,700 commercials for you. Although I got to give my tip of the hat to Micah and her team. You've got some of the funniest and most spot on channel marketing out there. It's Telesystem.
Pretty good.
Remember that.
You're right. It's Telesystem.
So Brian, to close up one great interview, been fun chatting with you here. But tell our team, if they like what they've heard here today, what's the best way to interact? What's the best way to reach out to Telesystem?
Yeah, like I said, I think there's a lot of ways to get in contact with me. Obviously, for the partner community, work through your channel managers, the channel managers that are with the CNSGs that are out there, and people within the AppSmart community. Please look into Telesystems. We're a great organization. Like I said early on in the beginning of the conversation, we're the best kept secret that I like to say that nobody knows about, and we're trying to change that. But you can certainly reach out to me directly. We have another great channel manager on the West Coast, Ray Belair, great guy as well. So we're the two that are kind of leading the charge. And then from there we can obviously introduce you to some of the other people within the organization. But you can reach me via my email address, bbookman@telesystem.us. You can always give me a call. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. And like I said, probably your best way would be to reach out through your channel managers and through your sources there within the CNSG community, and work your way that way. So we'd love to work with more people. We'd love to deal, with the customer base that you guys have out there. And, however we can do that, we're happy to do so. So I appreciate the time today, Chris. It was great.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much, Brian. We look forward to seeing you out there in the field, and we'll see the rest of you next time on the Zoom from CNSG, where relationships matter.